Hey, welcome to our fourth session on passing the baton on how to start a coaching practice. Now again, remember, the book itself really gives you all this kind of the step-by-steps of what you need to do. These videos are designed to hopefully inspire you a little bit. To number one, make sure you go through the book. Number two, put together the things that you need in order to promote your practice in a healthy way. And so really, some of the other things that you have to kind of think through is and be prepared to have in place are some simple policies and procedures. In other words, how are you going to manage the coaching practice? For instance, there should be some way to gather a person's email address, phone number, etc., so that you can contact them. Now, hopefully you'll have that set up through the web page that you develop or through Facebook, at which point you want to be able to contact them. When you contact them, you should have some sort of an intake form, if you will. Now again, intake forms are often used for more medical procedures, but it would be a similar kind of thing in a coaching practice, where you can get their name and address and phone number and email address, and where you can, what's your goal? What's your dream? What are you trying to fulfill? So you want to have kind of an initial session that hopefully isn't terribly long. I usually say I'll give you, a 15-minute free session. Well, during that time, I'm really just talking to someone, listening to them a little bit, and trying to get some sort of key of what they're trying to accomplish, and I will speak to that. Maybe even give them something, you're giving away some free service, but you're giving them something on the spot that will hopefully help them to move forward toward their goals. That creates credibility, etc. But the goal is then to have a follow-up after that where you actually sign them up for a certain amount of coaching sessions. Now I know some people say, well, what do I charge for that? Well, I've read books and taken courses that say, the higher that you charge, the more likely you're going to, get someone to commit. Well, that's true, but you can't squeeze blood from a turnip, and we are dealing primarily with Christian people, all of which we want them to continue to tithe and give offerings to their local church, so they only have so much money. So you have to kind of think about your time and what you value. So I have set up, and in fact it's in the book, kind of a sliding scale. You can use that. You can charge a flat fee. Most coaching sessions are anywhere from a half hour to 2 hours, depends on the coach. What you charge for that is really up to you. For me, I charge a certain set amount, but then I oftentimes, if I really like the person, I really think I can help them and they can't really afford the full amount, I might discount it some. That's entirely up to you, but you do have to have those things in place. You might think through, if I'm going to establish this as a full ministry, do I want to do it for profit, as in set up a private business, which you might have to, depends on your community, you might have to get a business license, or a nonprofit, or do I want to work under an existing nonprofit? And there's lots of Christian life coaches that they come alongside their local church, and because they have the confidence of their pastor, they just run everything under the church. It becomes a ministry outreach of the local church. Fees that are put in, they're processed through the local church and payroll systems and all of that. But you have to think that one through yourself. I've found having a nonprofit and actually getting a nonprofit created can open up a lot of potential doors in terms of grants, etc. So it's just something for you to think about. But whether for-profit, nonprofit, you got to think about your taxes, you got to think about those kinds of things and make sure systems are in place. Just like in the counseling process, whatever someone shares with you has to be confidential. Really, the way I like to say it is you have to be willing to die with other people's secrets. Because the secret is secret. They are sharing their life. They're sharing their hearts, their minds, their wishes, their dreams, sometimes their fears and their failures. And as such, whatever they share with you, you got to keep it confidential. So you need to make sure you keep confidential records that are stored behind, two locked, doors and, kept for a certain period of time. Now, it's not like counseling where you have to keep records for, usually up to 3 years, sometimes 7 years, depends on your profession. If they're a child and you're seeing them, it's like 7 years after they become an adult. There's no real rules or requirements on there, but best practices are you want to keep them at least for a season and keep those records confidential. They belong to nobody else. And then just overall, just remember, the whole key is to create systems so that you can enter into a covenant relationship with the person that you're consulting with, that you're coaching, because again, you're there not for yourself, although your time is valuable and you do deserve to be compensated for your time. But it's really about the other. It's about loving them, caring for them, and entering into a covenant relationship with them to be able to grow and change and become everything that God intended for them to be. Well, we're about at the end of our coach certification program from Vision International University. I'm so glad that you've come along for the ride on this. If you haven't started your personal coaching, I really encourage you to do that with one of the team. And we're looking forward to seeing you fully and completely certified and out there practicing, helping, changing people's lives and changing the world. God bless.